let's kick it off, and
All
then just
right.
everybody here, Jason will be joining in the next few minutes.
Perfect. All right. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Sorry we're a couple of minutes late. I'm a boomer when it comes to this technology stuff, but I got everybody trying to help me out here. I'm Hobart. I'm a volunteer mod here at the unofficial Panini Discord. I'm told, recording this. Hopefully that's happening. Someone's doing that for me. And if that's not happening, I do have someone taking minutes. I know that sounds fancy. That's just a fancy way of saying that we're taking notes here of the things that we discuss. And we'll see if we can, keep that, make that available to everybody that maybe doesn't have a chance to see this or wants to review something. I think that would be really great. Anyway, people don't want to hear me talk with my stupid East Coast accent. They're here for the Panini team. So I just want to give a couple of minutes for Austin and Brett to have you guys introduce yourselves, say who you are, what you do with Panini, and yeah, I think that'd be a great way to start.
Cool. So my name is Austin, Panini Austin here, and actually before I introduce myself, I do want to say a big thank you to Hobart and all of the mods in this Discord channel. There are a bunch of Panini folks in here. When we are able to participate with you guys, we've enjoyed that so far, and I see a lot of names and profile pictures that I've spoken to just in the chat and privately. So thank you guys for coming. But we know it's a lot of work what you guys do. So thank you very much. Just before I start, been with Panini for about 4.5 years now. Before that, also in the trading card space, and I work on the digital trading card apps, which I know there's been some discussion about. So Blitz, Dunk, and FIFA World Cup Trader. Also on the NFT product, and I'm on Jason's team on the marketing team. So it's nice to officially meet everybody here in sort of voice meeting. I'll send it over to Brett.
So I'm Brett. I've been with the company for about 5.5 years on the product development side. Started on our basketball team, and when we started our venture into the blockchain, I got moved on to that, as well as I help produce our physical college programs. Excited to kind of answer some questions, dig in more with the community, and see what we got here.
So is it too early for me to ask you guys that we do this on a more regular basis? Because I know that we've desperately wanted for a long time. And listen, just full disclosure, guys, they came to us. I know we've been asking, but they are listening. They are reading our suggestions, our comments. Austin has been great over the past couple of months with being as responsive as he can. And look, I understand they can't. Listen, they have their day jobs too. But listen, we would love to have you guys more often. Let's just see how this goes, Austin. Right? How about that?
Yeah, I would say in general, yes, we're trying to do more to be more part of the community, and this was a way to really kick it off. But yeah, we'll see how this one goes, but definitely in some form or other, whether it's voice or an old Reddit style chat AMA, we'll do this again for sure.
Great. So just to go over the format today, guys, we've got 100 questions that were submitted through our community AMA question, Ted. And again, thank you so much for that interaction. Your questions, your suggestions were most of them were unique. I mean, I got to tell you, I maybe only had a handful that were repeat, which I think is really great. So what we're going to do is I went through and I sorted them into some sections, and we're going to try to get through some of those. And then if we have some time at the end, I'm going to see if I can maybe take some questions from the audience. But we want to be as conscious of our guest time as possible. They're giving us an hour. We're going to squeeze maybe a little more than that if we can. But that's kind of the format today. So I'm just gonna get right into it. The first thing I'm going to bring up, while we don't have Jason here, I want to talk about the platform and the user interface with our website. Look, we're going to talk about a number of ideas and suggestions for the features of the platform, but can you give us a sense how long it takes to implement a new feature? Our community has been very vocal on a number of improvements I think would add to the overall user experience and the quality of life for the platform. So I think it would really be helpful if we understood the process from idea to creation.
Yeah, Brett, you want to start with this one, then I can jump into some clarifications.
Yeah, so I mean, as far as when we have a new idea or feature that we want to have implemented into the website itself, it really depends on what it is truly. So we'll present that idea to our team over in India, Xcube. From there, they have to work up a proof of concept for whatever that feature is that we would like to implement and put in place. And they typically come back to us and give us what kind of time frame is that going to be? Is that something that's simple and can take them, 3 to 5 days to be able to implement on the back end, fix on the front end, and then do a couple days of testing and go live with it? Is it something that's going to be a little bit more time consuming and can take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks? So it really depends on the project and where that project sits on the roadmap overall. So, I mean, we've really inundated them specifically over the last 4, 5, 6 months with just countless things that we see that need to be updated on the platform. And we try to keep a tight roadmap with them on what needs to be worked and what order of where we think the importance lies at that moment with certain features. And we definitely see things that the community is asking for, things that they'd like to see implemented. And I can guarantee there's a good handful of them that are on the roadmap. They just may be a little bit further down than something we can get to right this second. And there's other things with our website as well that they may be working on that isn't blockchain specific, because our website is kind of a one-stop shop. You have physical products on there, you've got the blockchain on there, you've got physical card checklist on there, you've got your redemption and your reward point section on there. There's multiple facets that our team in India may be working on at that given time to update certain sections of the site that aren't necessarily blockchain specific. So yeah, it just depends on what the feature is that we're trying to get implemented, and then from there, yeah, they come up with a timeline for us of how long it would take for them to achieve that, and we say, okay, that's great, go at it now, or oh, maybe we put this down a little bit and we'd rather you work on this over here instead.
Yeah, I'll just sort of re-highlight two things, that one that you just said at the end, one a little bit earlier. The first is, a change or a feature request might just be, a couple lines of code. Maybe it's an extra filter that we want to put in, but there are two sort of key factors that even something really quick have to be taken into account. Number one is, where is it going to go in front of? So, I know that it's going to come up later, so I'll mention it anyway. Pack sales, something was sort of announced a little while ago that I know a lot of people want. There are things that jump onto that list ahead of time, whether it's security features like two-factor authentication that really needed to go higher up on that list. So something else might have gotten pushed down. Second one is testing. This is one of the things that I think that we want to do, is when something goes out, make it work right as much as we can. So we don't want to release something, even though that has happened in the past, and have a whole bunch of people have some issues with it. So it's not always about how many lines of code, but it's where it goes and sort of importance, the testing, and the rest of the company priorities.
Yeah, and I think just to comment on it, I think that's part of the frustration for some of the community is they see some of these things, they may think it's just a couple of lines of code, and then they wonder something hasn't happened, yesterday. So I just wanted to get just a better sense as to the process. I know, Brett mentioned a roadmap of these things and then mentioned that, and I think it's easy for us in the NFT space here to forget that this website actually caters not only to the blockchain side, but also to your web presence. I guess my follow-up question would be, how much of a priority for Panini to be focusing on these blockchain features as opposed to maybe presence as a whole?
I can guarantee you it's a blockchain has taken most of the priority over the last 4 to 6 months. I bring up the other stuff because there has been a couple times where maybe it's a feature that gets put in that our team in India is working on that's just something strictly on the back end that you don't even see as a front-facing update to either the blockchain section on the site or something that they're trying to implement as a new feature or something for us here in the building, like with our shipping and stuff that goes on in customer service. I know there's something that they were working on a month ago for that. That's something that users aren't going to see, but those types of feature updates are few and far between. The majority of what they've been working on are blockchain ones. But there's going to be some things that get implemented that isn't necessarily going to be something that's seen on the front end. Like one of the things that we have on the roadmap right now is they're going to start trying to batch data together to send over to the blockchain in chunks. That's going to try to help alleviate some of the stress on the chain. Some of kind of the lag time that is built right now just within the blockchain technology of when a high amount of users open packs and you have that minting time that doesn't allow you to sell right away. That's something where they're trying to implement something on our chain specifically that will batch that information together and get it sent over a little bit quicker to where more and more people can hopefully sell quicker. So there's going to be things like that aren't necessarily seen or out there. That's even a UI type update as well that they're working on.
Yeah, and thanks for that, Brett, because I could just tell you from being involved in the beginning to now, it's already gotten better. But obviously, there's a lot more improvement. So I think that's a good indication that
if we only allow selling of packs via cryptocurrency, it should make it to where you can't dispute it. So if somebody buys that pack, they open it, they can't go back and try to dispute it at that point. So yeah, early on we said it was going to be a feature, and we just wanted to let people know, like, hey, this feature's coming. Like, if you want to truly buy these packs and hold them, you have that ability. We didn't want people to be able to buy the pack, open it, and then find out months later, oh, now Panini's put this feature in. I wish I would have known about that before they released their first packs. I may have held some of these as an investment. So that's where we want to be transparent with things and let people know. But kind of going back to the first question, there's just some things that get pushed back in the roadmap because as we move through them, we look at these pieces of them, specifically the PayPal piece, and we don't want to create that negative experience. We want to try to control it as much as we can.
And we got to test the diamond hands of people who have some early packs.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess my follow up on that one would be, I mean, listen, I think that initially I think PayPal was pretty excited, but I think some of us have learned through this process that it's not the perfect, and no option is, right? Where on the roadmap is potentially moving away from PayPal? And if it's not moving away from PayPal, adding the option for something else. And I say something else, whether it be a crypto wallet or a Panini wallet, akin to what maybe like Vivi does with their gems or something like that. A lot of people here have a lot of experience with these types of features, and they're familiar with them in other platforms. So, where is it on the roadmap? Is it sooner rather than later? What can you tell us about that?
It's definitely sooner rather than later. And some of this stuff we try to give visibility to and whatnot as far as where it's at on roadmaps and stuff like that. But for perfect example, we may have something on a spot in the roadmap and then you have a call with another group in the company, and all of a sudden something else gets vaulted to the front of the line. Like, one thing I can tell you that our Xcube group is working on today is they're working on trying to implement a basically translation feature to the website that's going to be able to have the website transfer into different languages for things that we have coming in the future that we want to be able to, if we have people in the French market, be able to translate into French. If you have people in the in the Spanish market, translate it to Spanish, or Mandarin or whatever. So that's something that it was on the roadmap, a little bit pushed back, but all of a sudden last week it got vaulted to the top. So there may be something that our group's working on, and then all of a sudden we have something come up and we need to push something else further up in the timeline there.
Yeah, I'll say with this one specifically, it's about finding the right partner. So obviously it is a very high priority, but want to make sure that this is not something that you can just sort of pull out and keep switching partners. So the due diligence on that is also what takes a little bit of that time to make the right choice.
All right, thanks. So moving along with UI, is there a plan to display user collections? I'm sure you're aware that there's many, obviously other features where platforms allow the people to see what they have, what they hold, maybe search through users, because right now we can't even search through users. Is this something that we're looking to implement?
I can say this is one we didn't have on the roadmap necessarily. I think when we first looked at our blockchain and what we wanted it to be, we wanted it to be where you had the ability to, not show part of your collection, show part of your collection. But since I've read through a lot of these comments and stuff, it's something that we'll probably look to implement into the roadmap later on down the line at some point. Because I've seen it enough now to see it's something that the community wants. So, and that's the big thing for all of this. I think we look at this overall and look at these lists that have been put together, and it's great work that everybody's been doing, that it gives us a lot of great feedback to go off of, that we see things that we may have not necessarily had internal discussions on, that are things that we can definitely add, because at the end of the day, we want to build something that the community wants to see.
What about trading or gifting between users? Is that something that we can see? I know a lot of part of the community is being able to trade with each other, and this is a collection, right? If you have physical collecting, people can meet and but here people are together 24/7. So are we going to be able to gift and or trade with each other in the future?
Gifting is 100% coming. It's when I went on the podcast with the Luca Tigers a couple Fridays ago, I think it was something that we had early talks in, but after I talked to those guys, it came apparent like it was something that needs to be implemented. So it's definitely on the roadmap now, and it'll be something that gets implemented sooner rather than later.
What about with our selling features? There was, I guess this everything feels like it was yesterday. It may have been 3 months ago. It may have been a week ago. There was a note about merging the gallery with the auction house.
Hey, sorry,
And I guess to
Hobart,
be
just to interrupt quickly. Jason has joined, so if we want to call him up, Jason, can you raise your hand in here? Just because there's a lot of people, and we'll pull you up. Don't see him yet. Can you search for people in here? Because I can't scroll down.
I got him. Hang on.
Okay, cool.
There he is.
Hey,
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 Jason.
Jason, welcome.
Thanks. Sorry for the delay. I got called into another meeting unexpectedly, but all good things.
No, we appreciate your time. Austin had let me know that that was going to be the case, and I appreciate you guys, sticking to the schedule. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sorry to interrupt. I know that you guys were deep in thought, so
Jason, what I just want, not to cut everybody off, but I do think it's important that everybody knows who you are, what you do with Panini. So just give us not a whole CV, just a little blurb.
yeah, absolutely. I'm the VP of marketing for Panini. I've been with Panini for 11 years, so started with them just as they came into the U.S. marketplace. Before that, I was on the agency side, and Panini was my client. So we've been here from the beginning since Panini entered the U.S. market, both on the agency side and then, as the VP of marketing. So responsible for all things marketing, responsible for, jumping into strategic initiatives like the NFT space, when we launched it back in January of 2020 and started thinking about it in 2018 and the digital trading card apps and so forth. So happy to be here and talking to all of you guys.
We miss you, Jason. We used to see you a lot more.
Yeah. Trying
Good
to feel. I'm trying to let people, jump in and chime in where, the people that are living it every single day, and I live it every single day too. But the guys that are knee deep and know exactly what's going on, on a day-to-day basis, minute by minute basis. So.
All right, so I'm just gonna thanks Jason, welcome. I'm just gonna get back into where we were. I was talking about the merging of the auction house. I apologize for my really old term with that, but that's how I think of it, as an auction house, as well as the public gallery. We see some quirkiness when it comes to the way it works right now. One of the things that I think everybody gets annoyed with and really want is the ability to provide a counteroffer through the gallery. Certainly provide a minimum bid in some fashion on the gallery. So where are we when it comes to that? Because I do remember that it was something that was brought up early on in a blog post or what have you.
Yeah, those things, they're definitely still on the roadmap, and kind of like what we talked about as far as uh, there's definitely some UI updates that are coming down the road, maybe a little bit further out, because some of those things are just more time. They're going to take more time for our both the back end and front end teams to work through and get implemented as they get time and don't have these other projects that get pushed to the forefront. But one of the things that we did talk about was merging the marketplaces into one section, so it's not going to the auction section to get auctions and the public gallery to get your kind of buy it now and offer section. When we kind of fully started looking at some of those and trying to clean up a little bit of it to make it as user friendly as possible, we talk about building a all-inclusive one marketplace section that has your auctions in it. It has kind of buy it now and off and cards that are accepting offers in it, and then that the public gallery could just stay exactly probably what a gallery should be, and that is just a section to show off cards that aren't necessarily for sale, almost like a showcase type deal. So those things are definitely coming. They're probably a little bit further out than some of the first things that we mentioned today, like the crypto, like the ability to sell packs and whatnot, but they're definitely coming.
I would assume, and maybe I shouldn't assume, but the search functions, we've seen significant improvements. I think there's still, obviously there's some, finer details that we can. Are we still actively improving the search functions? Because I know, like, we can't search via serial, specific serial, or with the players, it's just not quite smooth. Are we still, working on that?
100%. Yeah, we're still fine tuning some of that stuff. Kind of what you saw was like a first round of implementation of some of the new website features and whatnot. And when we implement things, there may be some things that come through on the website first, because the website we have a little bit more control over. Whereas when we do app updates, the app updates sometimes can take anywhere from 24, 48, even longer hours for Apple and Google to both accept the changes that we've made and then allow us to push through an update. So there's sometimes where we'll go ahead and push those web updates through and then let the app updates come through later. And there's sometimes that we'll wait for the app updates to come through and push out the web update as the app update is coming through.
And you're working on these updates concurrently, right? So you're addressing the browser, the mobile platform, and then the apps all together before you deploy any of these updates. Is that accurate?
100%. Yeah, we're always going to do both at the same time. We won't ever just do a web update and then not touch the apps as well. It'll always be that any update we push through, it's going to be through all platforms. It's just that the timing may take an extra day or two to actually hit typically the apps because of that process it has to go through Apple and through Google.
All right, so I'm gonna bounce over to some quick blockchain discussion now that I have Jason here, because I'm just not. I think it's something that maybe the two of you could speak to. So basically, the community is looking for a high level of confidence that their NFT collections will be available to them in the future, right? So, like, look, the elephant in the room, Fanatics has crushed the confidence level of most of the people here in the Discord. Right? I mean, I'm just gonna. It's making a lot of people nervous, and obviously with Dapper coming out last week, we don't have to speak about Dapper specifically, but just understand that the Dapper announcement with NFL has heightened our anxiety. So I think it would go a long way. I don't think I know it would go a long way if we understood or we knew that these NFTs are going to be with us forever, and more specifically that they can be moved into other blockchains or other systems such as like OpenSea or Immutable X, which is a hot term right now within the Ethereum space. So can we speak to that idea that we're going to be able to have these NFTs mobile through some of these other platforms?
Yeah, so I before I'd say anything about other platforms, what I'd say is that number one, when Panini stepped into the space, we were focused on building a sustainable long-term marketplace, and the intent of NFTs and blockchains are for those to live in perpetuity, and so that's still the intent on a number of on all fronts, I should say, just to be clear. So we're not going anywhere. The other thing that I'd say for those that are nervous about what's happening in the marketplace or what's not happening in the marketplace. I've been with Panini for 11 years. I can tell you year one is very different from year 11. And whatever the next, several number of years are, it's just going to continue to have exponential growth. We're not going anywhere. Panini has been in existence since 1961. They've gone through a whole bunch of crazier periods of time, much more crazier than what's going on right now. Between various ownerships and bankruptcies and being owned by Marvel at one point and being sold out of Marvel at another point. And, the tried and true, consistency is the value of the Panini brand and the Panini IP. That's not changing. We're going to keep pushing forward. So, I hope that gives you some more insight to that. But, everyone from the top down is fully focused and invested in growing and building the long-term viability of the Panini NFT marketplace. So there's that. Yes, there's the news. It's funny because I'm not someone that is known for biting their tongue. I've had to bite my tongue a lot in the last few weeks. There's balancing acts and juggling acts with licensors when it comes to products. And so, yes, last week's news that came out, we were well aware that was coming out. We knew what the time frame was. What I can tell you is that you will see Panini NFT product in the marketplace, hopefully sooner rather than later. We've got a timetable that our team is working on, that Brett's team is working on, that our tech team is working on. That are, and, we've got plans to, amp that up from a marketing perspective on a number of different fronts. There are things that we don't control in that mix right now. We have team partnerships that we are, hoping that at some point down the road we'll be able to activate, but we don't control when that gate is opened and when it's not opened. But we're fully ready to do what we need to do on that side.
So, I mean, you're saying that the ability of deploying your NFT products isn't just something that Panini makes a decision on. There's other factors that have to fall into play before you can do that.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, look, if we controlled, when we launched, to a certain extent, then we would go ahead and do that. But the NFT marketplace for some people, in the category is still very new, and so they want to manage how that is, handled in terms of rollout. And that's one of the blessings and the curses of having partnerships with people that control other IPs, that you have to involve them in the timing before you can roll something out. So that's just a process. It's Brett and I, and Austin for this matter, all would be ready to jump and go right now. If we could, we would. But there's that balancing act that we have to navigate through, on the other channels.
All right. So can you comment that you'll be able to deploy your product before someone else does?
I don't know what their time frame is. To be honest, we're focused on what we can do and when we can do it, and we know what our window is, and so we're going to be ready to go as soon as we can. As soon as we get the green light, our team's working on it and putting those elements in place, so that you'll see probably the rollout of you will see the rollout of individual NFL cards on the NFT platform with the best way to say it is the 21-22 season, so this current season. So you'll see fresh individual football cards in the market on our platform, and then the rollout of packs.
Will it be this year?
Yes.
Let's talk about making the blockchain or Panini's blockchain public. Is that something that is in discussion? Is that something that could potentially happen? Do we want it to happen? I mean, I can tell you that from a community standpoint, we want it to happen. Being in the NFT space, it's something that we all want. That doesn't necessarily mean it jives with what you guys want, but I think we just want to know, is this something that will happen?
It's a good question. I wish I could answer that completely. I think we're looking at all scenarios, but really our goal, and you've heard other people talk about, other markets and building their own markets and hubs, for lack of a better definition. I mean, that's our intent, is to continue to grow the market, the Panini marketplace, and to, with the existing licenses we have, with some of the other things that we're looking to do that we can control in this space and in this platform. And I think, it sounds like, Brett and Austin touched on it earlier. I mean, when we introduce crypto as a form of payment in the marketplace, I think that's going to also, level up another element, that'll, add to the playing field, for lack of a better definition. So, you never say never. I think our focus is continuing to build the marketplace so that it's a vibrant community across all of our partners, across all of our collaborations that we end up doing. Some of the things are different and unique, not just, in the pack format. You've seen some of the stuff that we've done, early on with U.S. soccer. We've got another, rollout with U.S. soccer here for Thursday night's game in Austin against Jamaica. And we'll continue to push in on that to drive more awareness to the marketplace, to drive more people into the marketplace, to bring in other people that may have interests in other collections to be a part of the marketplace. So all of those things are things that we can control in our ecosystem. And, and we're going to keep looking to build off of that. We've got some big plans on that side of it too. I wish I could share more, but I can't. But there's a lot there.
Yeah, I mean, are you potentially referring to your partnership with FIFA and the World Cup?
No, I'm not even. Things that we can, obviously license. We'll have conversations with every partner that we have, but I think unique collaborations and things that we can do in the market are things that we're, exploring and having conversations on daily. That just, right now you're seeing the pack formats and the individual cards tied to, sports licensees and properties. And I think there's, such a dynamic space, and Brett and, Austin, we talk about it all the time, and the team talks about it all the time. There's so much stuff in the NFT space that's really dynamic and things that are cool that, in some instances, we might be able to do some things that won't have restrictions on them, where we can take the wheels off. And we're looking forward to that. I mean, I think that's one of the things that excites me, in addition to, some of the things that we have, in our cadence and in our calendar to roll out here over the next, 2 to 3 months.
All right. Let's see. Where else can we go here? Everybody. There's a significant amount of people here that want me to talk about Dunk. I'm not going to be talking about Dunk today. I'm not, and I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Austin came to me a little earlier, and he was very candid. He's like, we really want to address this situation with Dunk and with Blitz, what that is, how it will or won't tie into the blockchain space. So listen, I'm going to be honest with everybody here. I am not familiar with Dunk. I am not familiar with Blitz. I know nothing about it. I didn't even know it was a thing, and then I see people getting heated over it. So I do appreciate that it's something that the community wants to discuss. I do appreciate, obviously, that it's something that needs to be addressed. So I guess my question, my direct question is, when it comes to this Dunk Blitz product, is it going to be something that is going to be transferred over to the blockchain?
Well, before Jason answers, I just have to say that those apps are awesome. So definitely check them out. They've gotten really good. A lot of utility with the cards, even though they're not on the blockchain, with fantasy, some mini games. Really good community inside there. So I just have to quickly plug Dunk and Blitz as really fun places to hang.
And I'll add to it's Austin took a little bit of the words out of my mouth on that side. Listen, I've been through the very first iteration of Dunk and Blitz when Blitz was Gridiron, and I'll tell you, that was a freaking nightmare. It's come a long way since then. To his point, the utility and the things and the level of engagement in those apps is amazing, considering where it started to where it is now. And we, those are, I mentioned that, I've been involved in a lot of strategic initiatives. I mean, I spent a lot of time in India going through what that was going to look like. I spent a lot of time with the previous partner trying to get that off the ground and banging my head into the wall, because we were ready to, take the marketing, rocket ship to the next level, and the tech wasn't there to support it. And now it's in a good spot. So that's just a little bit of background before I'm not trying to dance around your question. What I'd say is that we're constantly looking at ways to evaluate and evolve the existing blockchain community, and our platform. That includes, what that looks like from a Dunk Blitz point of view. We understand, the concerns of the people that are in the NFT blockchain marketplace right now. We're evaluating all of those things. in terms of how we approach, we will never, look, what I know based on, where we are right now is that, as we evaluate the market, I think that there'll be some things that are incorporated and migrated into the NFT marketplace, but you're not going to see this, massive card dump where every card in Dunk and Blitz is now in the NFT marketplace. So hopefully that answers your question. It's kind of a 50-50 question in terms of you're going to see some of that in play, but you're not going to see all of it in play. I think there's things that we're looking at that are, super compelling, that, to migrate some of those people into the marketplace would be, if they're not already here, would help, grow the overall community in a beneficial way. To Austin's point, the level of utility and engagement, I feel, this is just me talking, is a good testing ground for things that we can do and, adopt into this marketplace as the NFT marketplace, or Panini NFT marketplace, continues to evolve. So, but at the same time, we also have to have these other conversations where we're managing, the expectations of our partners, our licensors, and balancing out, that. So lots of moving pieces, lots of dynamic in play. But what I'd say is that, you're not going to see, if the fear is like, oh my God, they're going to drop every card that's ever existed in Dunk and Blitz, I don't see that or anticipate that happening.
Yeah, just to add a couple points there. So we're making some of these decisions as both users of the product, employees of Panini, and also from what you guys are talking about. So I know that discussion got really heated this week. People were bringing in jurisprudence and old Supreme Court decisions I saw. So first, we're users of the product, both the NFT product, Dunk and Blitz, physical trading cards. Jason's my boss during the day, and then during Patriot games, texting about that. So we're all football fans and sport fans and trading card fans and NFT fans. So we're users and sort of understand both sides and the concerns, but also just rest assured that we are taking a lot of feedback, even if we don't put a fire emoji or respond to everything in the Discord. So just to add a little bit there.
Yeah, no, and I mean, look, to add to that point, I mean, we're looking at what's happening in our Discord channels. We're looking at other channels and what's happening in other spaces, and sometimes my likes, or I treat those as like my bookmarks. Just FYI for those who follow me on Twitter. But I saw that someone saw that I liked the NFL Network thing with Dapper Lab last week, and that was more of like a mental note to me of like, hey, reminder, as we're continuing to have conversations with our friends, that we want to continue to do things to grow our marketplace and not just one element of the NFT space. So that's probably a little inside baseball, but I thought it was important that to Austin's point, just because I don't respond with the fire emoji doesn't mean that I don't see it. It means that if I respond with the fire emoji or I respond with something else, then someone else is going to cut and paste it and drop it all over God's creation for everyone to, I like to keep my playbook a little bit close so that we're in a competitive marketplace, and I'm not just talking about Dapper, I'm just talking about in general, a competitive marketplace, not just in the sports realm. I mean, I think when we look at things and people ask us about, who do we look at from a competitor point of view, I always say, like, I don't necessarily look at competitors. I look at aspirational brands and what can we do to, level up, the Panini brand so that we're in line with those aspirational brands that appeal to us, that have the right audiences, that are doing the right things, that are really cool and compelling. And how can we take those things and incorporate them into our own space? So, just a little background on that side of it.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that. I mean, for myself as a non-user of the, and again I got no skin in this game, so it doesn't. I guess I do. Either way, it sounds to me like, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. The outsider who recently came in for a Panini, a company who talks about scarcity so I mean so readily, and this is like, I mean, Jason, I've heard you in multiple interviews talk about scarcity. So it doesn't make any sense to seemingly just include all these these assets from another position into what's here right now. But I could potentially see this somehow having an integration in the future. I mean, is that kind of the line that we're looking at? Is that accurate from my point? Help me out as somebody who has no idea with this Blitz thing.
Um, so like I said, I mean, I think that there are some high-end, high-value things that have been in place that, since we've launched, both of those apps that, could be unique, when they're incorporated into this marketplace. And add another element, another dynamic, to level up the marketplace. There are things that, you could say throwback and all that other stuff, and or a replay or whatever, and however you want to term those things, and recreate those as 2021 versions, 2022 versions, and all those other things. But the reality is that even in the physical world, those cards that came into existence when those players stepped on the field for the very first time are extremely valuable and still part of the community, and need to be a part of the community for it to have the credibility and the authenticity that we want in the marketplace. If we're going to just sit there and regurgitate every key player that ever existed, and make it a 2021 version or a 2022 version, I think we'd be doing ourselves a disservice for the longevity of the market, for the consumers and for us. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, not bad.
I mean,
Again,
I think it's food. I think it's food for thought. If it doesn't answer the question, at least in terms of the things that are playing around and what we do. I mean, God, if we could recreate, when we didn't have a license in some space, if we just went around and decided that we're going to recreate every great basketball player that came before us, and say, hey, now this is the rookie card because we now have the license, like, that wouldn't be authentic. It would impact our credibility, I would think, and I think consumers would see through that. So that's kind of the point more than anything else.
I think one thought that we've had through all this, and I think in roadmap terms, this piece is way towards the back of the line right now. It's something that we don't have a good answer for right now, as far as being able to put it black and white. This is 100% what's going to happen, because we're still having internal talks on what it needs to look like, because there are other things that we want to integrate into the space before we even get to that piece of it. But one thought I've personally had with that piece of it is NFTs for us, they started at the very beginning of 2019. So you're talking about, certain classes of players that don't have, true rookie card NFTs for us in that space. You have the ability to go back. These dunk assets are technically digital assets that we could have the ability to convert to an NFT. That's the piece we're talking about doing. So you could go back and take those Luka, Trey, Jason Tatum, go back as far as even like a Dak Prescott or a Patrick Mahomes through Blitz, and convert the key rookie pieces from those to the NFT. But again, we don't 100% know that what we're going to do in that space, if we're going to do it, because it is something that's just on the back burner.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And I wasn't going to reference any specific players, but Brett kind of put it out there. I mean, some of those guys that don't have existing NFTs from a pure rookie perspective, the best way to integrate those into the market could be a migration of an existing asset.
But again, it's an idea. It's not anything that we're 100% going to do at this point. It's just it's out there. It's part of the internal discussions.
All right. We're rapidly coming towards the end of our allotted hour. I did want to get a couple questions in about challenges. I have plenty more that we could do. Questions, by the way. So I'm just trying to be conscious of everyone's time here. But as far as challenges are concerned, are we done with this season's challenges? Can we expect to see any new challenges for our current collections? Is this over? Are we moving on to next season, or is this something that we could maybe see in the future? Like, when I say future, I mean like within the next couple of months.
You mean more for like a specific sport or like NBA?
Well, I could be that specific. Are we? Is there going to be anything more for NBA? Are we going to see something for the MLBPA, UFC? I mean, what are we looking at?
Yeah. So in terms of NBA, we are done with the 2020-21 set of products, if you will. We're currently working on the 21-22, the new season stuff. We should have, and it just happened to be with scheduling, that Prism should come out first for that as far as our packs go. As we start to roll out packs for our, second go around for NBA stuff, you're looking at, of course, challenges and stuff. One thing that we did kind of take note of, and a lot of this stuff, we're kind of learning as we go, kind of what you're alluding to, trying to get away from those kind of dead spots. So we're making sure that we try to build more content up front, because we do have to go through league approvals with stuff. It's not something where we can just make something out of thin air, for lack of a better term, and boom, oh man, we didn't have a challenge for this. So you have to have this stuff built ahead of time. So yes, we will have more challenges when the 21-22 stuff starts for NBA, but we also do have, there's another round for baseball coming as well. The first set was Prism. You'll have Select Baseball as well coming down the pipeline. Those are being looked at right now, and hopefully should be ready to go shortly in a little while. And then you do have another set for UFC. We're going to do Chronicles for UFC, which should bring just a ton of different IPs and programs that we do as a company into that collection. So there's plenty more content coming for the different licenses and stuff before the end of the year. And each program that we bring in, of course, will have the challenge chase elements and stuff like that built in.
And as far as how the challenges will be implemented, are we looking at purely collect X amount of cards, get a reward card, or are we going to be implementing perhaps a burning feature? Is that something that even our platform can do?
We've definitely looked at implementing a burning feature, because we see a lot of utility to that in terms of, we've talked about maybe having like I know some people do tickets and stuff like that. We talked about making a Panini coin or something like that, where you'd have X amount of coins, and maybe you go buy this exclusive pack that's got exclusive content that can only be done through the burning system. So we're definitely looking at a burning feature on our blockchain that would give people the ability to burn off any card that they wanted to, really, which just help kind of build that scarcity within specifically your base sets, and maybe the higher number parallels and stuff like that would help.
All right, thanks. Austin, how we doing with time with everybody?
Um, we started a few minutes late, Jason and Brett. You have a couple more minutes, or should we wrap this up for now?
I've got a couple more minutes for sure. I know that people
I'm
are
good
trying
too.
to ping me on some other stuff, but yeah, I've got a couple. I've got time for more.
All right. So while I have Jason here, I did want to kind of focus on marketing specifically, and you touched on some of it already, but I think that a lot of us in the space have seen some of the products around us gain in popularity,
Mm-hmm.
which I think for us is a little stunning based on the fact that Panini is, for all intent and purposes, the name in NBA collecting, obviously the name in UFC collecting, the only name in UFC collecting. It was the name in NFL collecting. So I think, we kind of want to know, where are we going with Mark? All of us are very interested in a more engaging, community, more eyes coming to the product. You being the gargantuan that you still are, and I know, whatever recent news, people want to, say whatever they want to say about it, but you're still here and you're going to be here for, forever, hopefully.
Yeah,
So
and just FYI, regardless of the news, that doesn't impact any of what our plans are from a marketing perspective. I think, one of the things that for me, from a marketing perspective, that was hard was launching an NBA product, in this space with in a pack format, when there are no games being played and guys are traveling and on vacation, and you can't really leverage the relationships or the types of things that we have in play during that period of time. So I'm looking forward to, Brett alluded to the upcoming season of NBA. I'm looking forward to that because we'll be able to do some things in the market, around the new product and the timing of the new product when there's actually people on courts, dunking balls and winning games. So, and same thing on the NFL front. Like I said, I think, we are, to use a car reference, in neutral and our wheels are spinning and we're just waiting for that light to go off or that flag to go down so that we can let off the brake and, take off. And we have some plans on that front. We have plans from a media perspective. We have plans from an activation perspective. We have plans, from an athlete perspective. So all of those things are kind of, in the pipeline, waiting for things to go. And we've got some collaborations, quite honestly, on some things too, that'll push, from a larger scale as well.
can you maybe give us something that you could speak to more specifically as opposed to a generality?
I mean, I'd love to tell you that listen, we have existing media partnerships in place that we're ready to go with, and we're not launching them yet until product is in the market. So I can't tell you who those partnerships are with, but I can tell you that they are our partnerships. So, I mean, hopefully that's not too general. But like, I wouldn't want to say, hey, this is who our partner is and share that with everyone else in the NFT space and community. Like, you know what I mean? It's, people are watching what we're doing just as much as, everyone else is. So, to open up your playbook and share it with the entire world before you launch it is not really, what we do. But know that, every step of the way, every way that we've continued to build the brand to the way the brand is now in the last 10 or 11 years, there's always been a huge marketing component to it. We have marketing dollars that are, earmarked to the NFT space. So hopefully that, we're not just sitting there going, oh, hey, what are we going to do next? Or, hey, there's stuff that we're, ready and prepared to do when the product starts to roll out. Both from a partnership point of view, both from a media activation or social activation, you name it, all those things are going to be at work. I'd, just like we've done in everything else that we've done in the physical space and even in the digital trading card space, we've brought, real world experiences into the mix of the digital space for a number of years. Before the pandemic, we had opportunities where we, sent, dunk users to the NBA All-Star game. That's a little bit challenging right now, but obviously, we haven't had a real NBA All-Star game in, a year and a half. The last one was in Chicago. So those types of things, the offline experiences tying into some of those opportunities, the media partnerships, those are all things that we're, investing in and focus on driving people to our marketplace, to grow the market.
Yeah, that sounds great. What about a commitment to the digital presence? Commitment to more Twitter, implementation, potential giveaways. I know a Discord that's set up that's pretty good when it comes to Panini, being around. Can we get maybe more involvement? I mean, there's a lot of ways. Again, we've got some savvy people, in this community, and they see a lot of the, knocking on doors, people really, busting their butts trying to, get the name out. Is that something that we can look at, that we can look forward to? Is that something that's kind of in the pipeline?
Yeah. So first off, let me just say, we've had a partnership with Twitter for 8 years. As Austin knows, this is inside baseball for all of you. Twitter didn't have an NFT policy. They didn't, they weren't giving people the ability to market NFT specific products. We fought hard for since April until August on that with our team at Twitter to show the value of what we're doing in the marketplace, to reinforce, hey, this is licensed product. Hey, this is not something that's going to use your platform to grow a market and then fall off the face of the earth and take everyone's money. That's not what we're doing. And so there are lots of things that were happening, specifically with those partners, that our team on the Twitter side didn't have control over, nor did we, but we had to go through the proper channels to get, to raise our voices and make sure that we were heard. And we were heard, and we've been, invited into a beta program with them. From a Twitter perspective, you've seen some other things starting to finally roll out, as they're getting their arms wrapped around the NFT space. But yeah, so I mean, we're doing things on that side. We've got multi-partner, multi-event partnerships, multi-activation partnerships with people like Twitter that we'll continue to push in on, as well as other partners. So the answer is yes. I mean, I think that we've always pushed in on the social side of things, in terms of activation, in terms of incorporating elements that are behind the scenes, whatever we're doing, so that we bring that to life on social platforms. And we're going to continue to do those types of things and continue to elevate the experience to drive people in, as well as the people that are, already in the marketplace.
So can we get the official Discord, or can we get a community member to nothing against you, Austin, but I mean something that a lot of our community members are used to, consistent people who are in the chat, 8 hours a day. Is that something that we could potentially see?
Yeah, I think that, look here, and just so, I've been in the marketing business for 20 plus years, and there are things that are ready to go, that we want to strategically align the timing of for when that happens. So when we can strategically align that to make as much noise as we possibly can in the space, that's what we're going to do. But all those things have been, all those things have been thought through, and it's just a matter of when you put them into the space. So that's a little bit discreet in terms of, without giving too much of the playbook away, but we want to be strategic in terms of when we put stuff into the space and how we're going to do that, and we have a timeline for that. And you'll see it sooner rather than later. When I say sooner rather than later, I don't mean like tomorrow or next week, but you'll see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I understand that. I obviously, but I might have a different understanding than other people in the community. I think that one thing that I think we'd all like to see is just a little bit more consistent communication from the team. Just anecdotally, if you're implementing something like on the website, just let us know. Like, instead of us figuring it out, I think we would all appreciate just that small little thing. It just makes it makes the community, more handshake. It makes it feel less like I'm sticking my hand out and not getting it shaked. More like, we're shaking hands together. I think that'd be great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I know that there are things that we're, working on to, as Brett probably mentioned early on, from a development point of view, and we're trying to do as best as we possibly can, knowing when that's going to be ready to go and when it's going to roll out, and making sure that it's, the way we want it to be, sharing that with you guys as soon as we possibly can. Sometimes, to Brett's point, you're seeing stuff that happens on the website first, because we're sitting here waiting for our friends at Apple and Android to basically give us the green light, and sometimes that takes 24 hours, sometimes that takes 48 hours, sometimes it takes longer, just depending on what where they are with things.
Thanks, Jason. Yeah, I mean, Austin, we're at 1:20. I had originally planned to maybe take a couple questions from the audience. I don't know if we have time. Are we still good with sticking around? I could stick around a little bit longer myself.
Yeah, I unfortunately I'm already 7 minutes late to another meeting. So I've got to pop off, but I wanted to just say, man, we're excited to be in this space. We're excited to engage with the people in our community, and I think that this is a good first conversation. I think we'll continue to have more of these, to give those bigger updates for those that miss them on the blog, or those that miss them on Twitter, or those that miss them in the Discord channel.
Jason, thank you so much from myself, from the community. We really appreciate the time that you spent with us. We look forward to. Hey, listen, don't be a stranger. Hop in like you used to every once in a while. Just say hey.
Oh, believe me, I will, but I'm also, just so you know, I do pop in, and I'm looking at things and hearing things, and certainly on Twitter as well. So
yeah,
like I said, sometimes I don't respond to everything, but
we know. Just say hey. Just say, hey,
yeah,
guys, thinking about you, miss you.
Yep, sure, absolutely. I'll do that. I'll make sure that it's just hey, guys, I'm here. Hello, hope you're all doing well.
All right, Jay, thanks a lot.
All right, thanks.
Austin, if you have time with Brett for a couple of, I mean, I've got a boatload still of questions, so I hope that we can, do this, relatively again soon, where we have a little bit more time.
We can we'll definitely do it again, and I have a couple minutes to stick around for some questions if Brett wants to as well.
Yeah, I can, for sure.
Great. So guys, on your desktop here, you have a feature to raise your hand. That'll give me the ability to pull you up to ask your question. So just a couple of things, guys. So you obviously go, do that right now. But I just wanted to say that, let's be respectful to, not that you wouldn't, but I'm just going to say this just so I know I said it and I can go to sleep tonight. Just let's be respectful. Nothing, adversarial or anything like that. If things get hairy, I'll bounce you out. But I've grown to understand that this Discord has been great. So I'm sure it'll be fine. All right. Okay. So Nighthawk.
Hey, good. Can you hear me?
I got you, man.
Oh,
Yeah, we got you. Nice to talk to you.
cool. Thanks, guys. Are you able to read like the Discord conversations happening like live as this is going on?
Yes.
You see
Yes.
the NBA chat one? You see like pretty much everyone's pissed off about like all the dunk stuff you guys hinted at.
Yeah, I see that.
There's a lot of anger, and I'm one of them because I've spent like a shitload of money with you guys, and that was just kind of scary news that I just got from you guys.
Yeah, I will say a couple things. Number one, yes, absolutely. I think Hobart was looking at it also, hence the. I mean, in Nighthawk, the way that you asked it, totally fine, totally respectful. Yes, we see it. I think that maybe the answer was misunderstood a little bit. I think that we weren't giving anything and any definitive answers specifically, and wanted to make sure we know we were listening to the community and the concerns. So, that's what I have for that part.
All right, but so just on more clear, like an example, like Kobe cards, like you would bring in like old Kobe cards and make them NFTs.
Yeah, I mean, we don't truly know yet because it's kind of like what I alluded to. It's something we've had internal discussions on, but there's not been an official decision made yet on what we may or may not do as it pertains to those. It's something that's way further down on the roadmap. It's not anything that we're probably going to have a decision on for a while, just because we've talked about a bunch of different ways you could go with it, even if we do it at all. I mean, it's not something that we necessarily have a black and white answer for you today. And that's, it's something where I struggle with personally, because I want to be as transparent as possible, but that's as transparent as we can be on the whole dunk blitz topic. We get it's a big one with the community. We understand that we have loyal NFT collectors that have been with us since 2019. We also understand as a company we have these Duncan Blitz collectors that have been with the company since Duncan Blitz became a thing. And as technology increases and you see different avenues to kind of pull things into a new space, you look at the opportunity to do that. Again, it may be something we do, it may not be. We don't have a great answer today for you, unfortunately, and I personally apologize for that, but it's not something where I can 100% guarantee it's going to go one way or the other.
Yeah. All right. Well, can I just express my concern that I bought into this thinking I was buying like the first NFTs of their kind, and to retroactively bring in older stuff kind of goes against what I was being marketed as. So that's kind of like my biggest concern.
And I will say again, we do understand that concern, and like Brett and Jason mentioned about there being no decision. The possibilities are, we go make a deal with Elgin Baylor's estate and release that. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But just the wildest, crazy possibility, all the way to maybe it's Duncan Blitz cards moving forward. So there's been no decision on that. See people's concerns on it, and when we know more, we'll definitely share more.
Thank you for that. Let's see, who else can we get up here? Awesome. Looks like you sent that. Oh, good. Jay Schlade, what's up, man?
I think
Jay, you
you're
there?
muted there. Hey, G Schlade, I think you're muted if you want to hit the microphone button at the bottom.
Good morning, gents.
How are you? Nice to talk to you.
Can you guys hear me?
What's going on? Yeah, we got
Yeah,
you.
we got you. How are you? Nice to talk to you over voice.
There we go. It's no longer on the speaker. That might be what Jay Schlade had a problem with. How are we?
Doing great.
Excellent. So the question that I've got for you guys, there's been a lot of comments regarding PayPal's tax regulations that kick off in the US as of early 2022. And I think the crypto space is what a lot of us are looking forward to. I mean, certainly us Australians are not impacted by the tax regulations just yet, but we generally follow the US not long after. And I think the crypto space is a space that, one, we see a lot of potential in increasing the value of the cards, but secondly, in maintaining a healthy spend as we do on a weekly, daily, monthly basis. And $600 a year is going to make a lot of people nervous. So with that said, does Panini and its roadmap understand the urgency within that 3-month period that's coming up? And has it moved up the roadmap due to that decision by PayPal?
Sorry, I don't think I caught the question there. Which specific part about the understanding the tax implications in the US or abroad?
Introducing something like crypto to help alleviate that restriction. Not from abroad, but specifically because the majority of your users are in the US space. So I think a lot of your US based users are quite nervous about that PayPal implication for their taxes starting January.
Yeah, crypto is definitely something that we're looking to implement sooner rather than later. Kind of like Austin said earlier, it's something where we are talking to different vendors to get it set up on the platform, and we just have to do our due diligence and make sure that we pick the right one that works within our infrastructure. But it's definitely something that's on the roadmap sooner rather than later that we want implemented as soon as possible.
Also, just from a tax perspective, I do believe crypto transactions, anytime you make a crypto transaction, those are taxed as well. So definitely consult an accountant.
All right, looks like we pulled up Ziggy. What's going on, Ziggy?
Hey guys, first of all, thank you very, 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 very much. I know I whine a lot. I really appreciate this time. I got a complicated question. To kind of, in the confidence area about where the roadmap is, can Panini give us a roadmap 12 months out where I can say, hey, in the spring, Prism basketball comes out. In the fall, Prism football comes out. Do you guys see a time where your product, and I assume it probably lags a few weeks behind your physical product, right? Is that the case? So for example, I would see Prism basketball cards before I'll see Prism basketball NFTs. Is that a fair assumption? And can you guys give us a roadmap comment to that? Also, is there a plan to make NFTs that are solo, independent of those cards, that are maybe more artistic, and they would then give us more confidence, regardless of the licensing, whatever goes on physical, I don't care. I'm invested in your NFTs. Or is there a plan to make more artistic NFTs in the future that are, again, not focused on the card art? And then lastly, to tie that in, a plan to use player utility. You guys do the Panini VIP parties, right? Could you see where maybe a set collector gets to go to the Panini party? Could you see where maybe you get Stephen Curry and KD players that you have under contract, maybe signing from their blockchain cards you guys put in packs? Are these things that you guys are road mapping that I think could add massive utility And again, when I think of Panini, you guys are dominant. Again, that player access, the creativity, the art, like Kaboom cards that actively boom for us NFT wise. And I'll leave it at that. Oh, last comment too. Any idea on when we might see with Evaluate and with Crypto Slam? And I'll be quiet, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ziggy.
Yeah, so that was a lot to unpackage there. So let's start with the roadmap.
There's a lot there. There's a lot there, Brett. I mean, listen, do what you can with that. I mean, I appreciate Ziggy's question. I know he's been waiting a while. So let's see what we can do.
Yeah, so for the roadmap piece first, yeah, I can definitely, I don't know if we can ever go as far as 12 months out. And what we've seen kind of early on, like Jason kind of talked about it, specifically as we work with licensed partners these first times, you know, it's a space that's new to them as well. So as we're submitting things for approvals, you know, they've got questions that we need to answer and make sure that they're comfortable with and we're comfortable with before we fully release and maybe have information. So that's something where, you know, we'd like to be further out in our communications necessarily on specific programs and stuff dropping, but it may be something where, you know, we're having these constant talks with league partners to make sure that they're comfortable with everything and they fully understand the space working, you know, with us this first time. You know, even though they may have worked with us for years on physical products, this is a completely new area for them. So as we get down the road and they get more comfortable with us, I think that is something we could see maybe a further out release schedule or something like that in place to, you know, let the community know, you know, for basketball, you know, we plan on doing Prism, then maybe we do Select and Mosaic and Donruss Optic. And so that you have a better idea of what a true calendar may look like in a sense of a release year. You know, just using basketball as an example, since we did Prism for last year, I can tell you Prism for last year came out when it did because it's, you know, it's the premier Optichrome brand for us. So we wanted to make sure that we came in strong with our first release with something that everybody kind of knows from a physical perspective. And you know, with timing constraints there, though, that was the one brand we were able to get out for the full 2021 release schedule when it pertained to NBA. With NBA this year, though, you should see, you know, 4 to 5 different programs, though, that typically are going to contain our Optichrome programs. We will start to work in, I think another piece of the question was like autograph content and things like that. We'll start to work those things in as far as part of the pack releases and stuff like that. So as far as a roadmap goes, maybe it's something in the beginning where we could get a couple months out, and it, you know, as we get further along with licensed partners, we may could start to share more and more of that information. And it is something kind of what Ziggy alluded to. The way that we've gone to this point is we want to build generally towards similar to how the physical products have looked even within the cards themselves, like the LaMelo Prism card looked exactly like the LaMelo physical card. So what we do in that essence is we kind of wait for that league approval on physical cards, and then we start to build the digital card. So you will see kind of that similar cadence as far as a physical program releases. That'll give you a good indication that we are good to go on the NFT piece if we have that program planned. I think one of his other questions alluded to possible like utility as far as VIP party, something like that. We've definitely had internal discussions about working that in to say maybe a challenge mechanic or maybe a set collection mechanic. You know, one of the features that we're definitely working into the platform is just updating the card set section and having it show that your full card set, or you're missing these cards, and it shows like a completion tab. And maybe within something like that, we have a timer going towards say, oh, you have the complete set, and we take a screen cap, and everybody that's completed, say, a base set or something like that, goes into a drawing for a VIP ticket or something like that. So we've definitely had internal talks about adding that utility to maybe even challenges, complete sets, things of that nature. I think I got most of what Ziggy threw out.
One thing I did want to touch on, which I didn't get to earlier, which he did ask, Crypto Slam. What's the status? Where are we going with that?
I can say that we are working with outside third parties. I can't say which ones specifically. I have to leave that to Jason because he does have timing for when he wants to make an official announcement on some of that stuff. But we're definitely working with companies outside of us to give people access to sites that are already out there.
And very
And that's
soon.
about
Yeah, I think that's fair.
very, very, very soon. It's coming. I just can't say which ones. And
Yeah, that's weeks away, if not less.
Jason will come find me and beat me up or something if I give the specifics of that.
We don't need that. We don't need that. We pulled up BitCard Heroes. What's up, man?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we got you.
Appreciate the time and the color. I think this is it's great. You know, getting the setup and all the communication. I have one very specific ask that maybe you can bring back to the dev guys. I think it would be super helpful when you scroll through the app. It's something over the last couple of years
I think
I've
we lost him. Wasn't sure.
found it to be difficult. So when you scroll through the app,
Audio cut out.
Just as he was about to ask the question too, Austin. Did you catch that?
you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I can still hear him.
Yeah.
You can still hear him?
I can still hear him. Yeah, keep saying your question. I got you.
Sorry about that. So when you scroll and you click on a
Oh, now,
card,
there you go.
and then you come out of the card, it like pops you to the top of the gallery of the auction instead of kind of like sticking to where your spot was.
Yep, I saw that question when these got popped over, and I've actually already added it to my list of stuff to get with the dev team on. So it'll definitely be something we look at because I see the same things as I kind of go through and play with the site. And I think as we get through this stuff, there's going to be little bugs and stuff like that that just need to be touched up. So for sure, I've added a note on that one when I saw it on the
Cool, I
list of
appreciate it.
questions.
User experience piece. I mean, that's
Brett, do me a
awesome.
favor and just restate the question because it cut out for me. I have a feeling it may have cut out for other people.
Yeah. So basically, what he was saying is, as you scroll through the website right now, specifically like if you're in auctions or in the gallery, what happens is if you click on a card and then try to go back to the cards that you've been previously looking at, say you have a specific search set or a filter set, it always takes you to the top of the page. So I think what BitCard's asking for is if when you click back, it can take you exactly back to where you were on your search page before that. So yeah, that's definitely something. I saw that question. I immediately wrote it down as I would hope it's not something that would take too long for us to kind of clear up and make it where you could go back specifically to where you were before.
Thanks.
Sorry, while we're getting somebody else up, if they're more, just one that I saw in another one of the channels on the queue system. So, we understand the pack scenario, clicking 15, 20 times. So we're working on something there as well. Just wanted to put that out there.
Hey, I got a quick question from somebody who DM'd me, and this is actually something that I didn't see, or maybe I've seen so many questions. Are we working on anything animated for our NFTs, or are we sticking to static photos?
We've had talks with adding animation pieces to the cards and whatnot. So it's in the works. We haven't made a final decision or anything because it kind of Jason spoke about like league partners and stuff come into this space as well with making sure that we show them what our plans are for some of this stuff, and we have to get their approval on some things. So it may be something where one league is in favor and another's not. So it may be certain leagues that only allow it, but for sure it's something that we're looking into.
That's great, Brett. Thanks.
I think I probably have time to stick around for one more, then I got to jump off.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you guys have been really wonderful with your time, and we're trust me, all of us are really excited that you spent it with us. Um, Panini, what's up, man?
I would do a disservice to the Europeans if I didn't ask. FIFA, is it coming?
Nah, can't fully say whether or not it is or not yet. I can tell you, as you probably already know, they're definitely a league partner of ours with physical cards. So we're definitely in talks, and we'll have more out as we get further along. And I want to say, great meeting you personally. I can tell you, when this Discord group started, I had several people in the company come directly to me and ask if I was you. And they were 100% convinced, because you've been able to scrape together so much information and help build this community, and just through your Twitter profile and everything, that they were 100% convinced that this was me, and I was the one just leaking information out there left and right. And I had to just tell them over and over, nope, it's not me.
Well, if I lose my real life job, I'll come to you for a job. But thank you, guys. I think, yeah, nice to meet you as well. Take care.
Jay Schlade, what's going on, man?
Hey guys, sorry about that earlier. My microphone wasn't working for whatever reason, so I had to figure out how to change that. So thank you for bringing me back in, and appreciate the forum. So I want to say that that's important, I think, for any community. So first and foremost, thank you guys for taking the time. And I'm not going to belabor this point regarding the whole dunk situation, but I do want to bring up a comment that was made earlier around the fact that you guys are still identifying what that's going to look like in the roadmap and how that's going to play itself out. The problem with that is, and I probably speak for a lot of people on this phone call in that regard, is that by not knowing what you guys are going to do with that, it's going to stifle the market and how people want to invest here. And as a fairly significant investor in this space, not only with the packs and the NFTs that were just launched, but pre-Prism, I've been doing stuff prior to that with the Dutch auctions. It's a bit concerning that we wouldn't have that kind of laid out for us at this point, because I'm just telling you, like, I have no doubt in my mind I'm going to go into the marketplace and people are going to be panic selling and trying to get out of the space. And for those that have pretty large positions with Panini, that's a very concerning place to be. And so have the answers, that's fine, but I would expect that we'd hopefully have answers relatively soon on this front so that we can make decisions accordingly as an investor.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to put it, for sure. We don't want to, I think, push people the wrong way or have them jump to conclusions, although it does seem like that is what's happening. If that's, our communication, that's on us, and we apologize. I think one of the big things to think about is, I saw early on in the people pulling together the AMA questions, like, hey, don't lean on this, our brand as an answer. But, that is something that has been built and cultivated over a very long period of time. And, we try to do as much as we can for our community, both on the physical side and now with NFTs and blockchain. So, whether that's on the physical side, like partnering with local card shops, and helping those guys out to then help out that end consumer, going direct to consumer where it makes sense, trying to get better and more fair pricing for people. I would just say that we just don't have those answers yet, and we will share more when more of those decisions are made. And we're watching and listening, and we'll engage on it more. People who make a decision to just say, I'm out after this, unfortunately we won't be able to engage with them, but those that want to engage in that dialogue, we definitely will.
Yeah, look, Austin, like I said, I appreciate the fact that there's still decisions to be made, and that's all fine. I would just say, I think you guys know, based upon what you've seen in the chat and just through some conversations here, what a really important topic I think this is for a lot of folks. And for people that are going to be making future buying decisions from this point forward, not having that information is just going to create a lot of dysfunction in the marketplace, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's something we can definitely take and shoot it up the ladder and make sure that, you know, the key people above me and above Austin like understand kind of the community's concerns here, as far as even if this isn't something that's on the roadmap for a while, that we at least have the discussions internally and try to have more of a concrete answer for the community.
You got it. Again, appreciate the forum, guys, and thank you guys for bringing me back in despite my technical issues earlier.
I know what those are like personally, so all good.
And I don't know if Brett's sticking around, but I unfortunately do have to jump off in the next couple minutes.
Yeah, I think we've taken up enough of everyone's time. This has been, I mean, you guys have spent more than enough with us. But I would be remiss in saying that we'd love to have you again. We've said this a lot, sooner rather than later. Which in this case, I think you know, hopefully not in 2 months. Hopefully less than a month. I'd like to see you guys. But yeah,
we'll definitely be back.
Great.
We'll try to focus the next one more on the real time questions that come up from discussions that are being had.
Yeah, we'll work on the format. You know, I think obviously this has been fluid, but I think this went. I mean, I'm not going to say anything, but it felt pretty good from my end. I hopefully the community agrees. So Brett, Austin, thank you so much for the time that you spent with us. We hope to see you guys in chat again. Don't be strangers. And as far as the community that asked me to run this, I appreciate your confidence. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope we could do this again sometime real soon. So with that, I'll be better next time, and I hope everybody takes it easy.
Awesome. Have a great day.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks, everybody.